I certainly felt that I was on a messianic mission. Through Camp Ramah, we can change the lives of individual campers. If we change enough individuals, we can change American Jewish life. If we change American Jewish life, we can change America. And if we change America, we can change the world. And if we change the world, the Messiah will come.
Ramah always was a kind of macrocosm of an ideal community. It was a world in which Jewish life was paramount, Zionism was so important, Hebrew was spoken and learned and cherished.
It's at Ramah that I, as a youngster, had these discussions on the camp grass with Neil Gilman about matters of Jewish theology. We sort of created in this hothouse a Garden of Eden type, a perfect world, where people were actually nice and creative and loving and supportive and everything like that.
Judaism is a total experience. Judaism is not something for the synagogue, it's not something for rabbis, it's something for everybody. And in this environment, rabbis bicycle, rabbis swim. You can see a rabbi without a shirt on. You could, rabbis go on hikes and canoe trips.
It's a kind of Jewish community you can't build anywhere else. It's a way to transmit Jewish teachings, Jewish values, Jewish experience better than anybody else has available. You're having the time of your life. You're going from moments of great depth and great emotion and great learning to sheer fun out there on the court. And you have this total kind of Jewish life. It's wonderful. It's a great thing.
They don't think of playing baseball as an experience of potential religious or Hebraic education. And that's what the camp not only allows, but makes happen.
In my whole camping experience until then, the premium was to destroy other people, because that's the way you won. David McGillner, Alav Shalom, came up to me and said, "This is not the way we play basketball in Camp Ramah." I said, "Oh." He said, "Right." Where the premium was not on winning, but the premium was on how do you treat each other. Well, I'd never seen that before.
They made us speak Hebrew as much as possible. We were going to religious services every day, and that was new to me, and it was a wonderful experience.
For me, it was also an issue of finding a family, a Jewish family, an observant Jewish family that I didn't have at home.
What was lacking in the town in which I grew up was a practicing faith community.
I was raised in Wichita, Kansas, was one of 700 seniors in my high school class, the only one of which was Jewish. And my identity, my love of Judaism, of course, was nurtured in my home, but the most transformative experience for me were my summers at Camp Ramah.
איפה למדת עברית? For an American to speak Hebrew was kind of unusual. So I said, Machane Ramah.
In the Poconos, there was an Eitz Tfilah. There was a beautiful old tree around which they had built a stage, a bama, where we celebrated Kabbalat Shabbat. And watching hundreds of people come to sit around that tree on the benches was a very moving and special experience.
Judaism is lived. It is absorbed through osmosis rather than cerebrally, and that leaves a much deeper impact.
After the rapids, we would then pull over for a discussion, and the kids were on this high because they had just made it through what seemed to them to be enormous rapids on this mighty river. And then that was when we did a discussion about what it was like to be outdoors, issues of Judaism and the environment within a Jewish lens, and chance to grow as a person and as a Jew.
Being in the outdoors, in nature, with beautiful, whether it's mountains or lakes or trees, and every one of our settings is just a little bit different but very, very beautiful, is something that has a deep impact on our children. You combine that with the environmental lessons and the ecological lessons, the lessons about justice and equity that we create in our communities in camp, and we give these kids some very important lessons that they can take out to the world with them.
It's really living Judaism. It's not really learning about it from an outward source. You're really living it.
Shochet, the slaughterer, is standing there with a knife, practicing the bracha. A cow falls out of the sky, lands on the knife right on his neck. All right, kosher?
No. Camp is the place where you build community, where you find community, where you're a part of community, and that's in everything that you do, in eating in the Chadar Ochel, in praying together, in trying to beat each other in basketball, and how all of those things are the important elements of camp.
I've learned what it means to be a Jew in America, be a Jew in Israel, and what it means to live a Jewish life.
Israel in some ways is a recreation on a much larger scale of the kind of religious intensity that youngsters feel in the Ramah world.
I go to Kabbalah Shabbat every week. I started wearing kippah all the time in school, stopped using lights on Shabbat, different things like that I started in camp, and camp has helped me figure out that it was really part of my Jewish identity.
I see camp in my everyday Jewish routine, and even sometimes when it's not so apparent, it's just affected me from my deep roots, and that my outlook on Judaism has been shaped by camp.
Even though you leave camp at the end of the summer, I find that camp stays with you throughout the rest of the year.
You know the songs, you know the dances, you know the words. It makes everything so much more enjoyable when you can celebrate and you know how to celebrate. I know my closest friends have been my Ramah friends.
When you meet people in Ramah, it's a totally different experience. They become part of your life and you become part of theirs.
The most magical moment was when I met my future wife at Camp Ramah.
I met my wife through Camp Ramah.
I met my husband at Ramah.
There have been numerous marriages and good families produced by Ramah. It precedes J-Date and is probably better.
We had a chance firsthand to see the program in action, which was fabulous.
All you have to do is spend one Shabbos at Ramah and see the kids and their excitement about Shabbos and singing at meals.
It is the best educational investment this movement has thus far made.
It's one of the most gratifying philanthropies we've ever been involved with, because most other things you just write a check. You don't really see the results, and here you do.
You can affect the lives of these kids. You can change them. You can modify character. You can transform human lives.
The magic of what takes place at Ramah in a summer has the potential to infuse all aspects of the conservative movement with life, with vigor, with joy.
60 years is just the beginning. I hope it never ends, and that Ramah continues to grow and to help people have a wonderful experience of Jewish living.
It's something that should continue forever and ever, because that is what is so important, is that young kids should be having Jewish positive role models that they can look up to.